Hello and welcome everyone to the special edition episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. Now, as you can see, we added some serious production value thanks to the unbelievable talent of the graphic god. You saw the new opening for this particular show. You obviously see the new Xbox Factor podcast logo that Jay did. It seemed like he was a magician. So we're going to introduce him first. Now, obviously, he was on Tuesday's record-breaking show. And of course, I am not shy to say that he is responsible for all of the artwork. And I mean literally all of the artwork for this channel. And, you know, we have to let people know that if you are a YouTuber, if you are a content creator, if it's something that you thought about doing and didn't know how to do, and you were interested in getting original created artwork, Xbox Gamer Picks is a site that you should definitely check out. The information is in, of course, the show notes of this particular show and every show. And all you have to do is click your mouse and you will see what is available for you to order. The pricing is extremely affordable. Jay, obviously, who's here today, is going to be able to tell you a little bit more about it in a second. But like I said, he does all the artwork. I get tremendous compliments from the amount of artwork that he does. So, Jay, do me a favor. First of all, Happy New Year. Welcome to the Xbox Factor podcast for the second time in the same week.
I know this is like record breaking for me to actually be on more than one podcast in 1 week.
Yeah, well, there you go. And also, do me a favor. Once you're done, telling everybody about yourself, just tell them about your sites that you have that you produce all of your original content on.
Cool. No, thank you very much. So xboxgamerpicks.com, don't be deceived by the name. I do more than just work for people that enjoy Xbox, although that is my passion. But if you go to xboxgamerpicks.com, you can get an avatar that not only looks amazing and is customized to what you want, I can make you move. It's like magic.
Yes.
I can have characters moving on the screen. I can have backgrounds changing. We can do a lot of stuff together. So yeah, hit me up on xboxgamerpicks.com or just hit me up on Twitter. My Twitter handle's in my logo. If you can see that, @GraphicGod. Hit me up there. We'll have a discussion. We'll get you exactly what you need. But again, thank you very much, Boom, for inviting me. I had a lot of fun the other night, and looking forward to talking more games.
Well, listen, it's great to have you here. Obviously, you are a passionate Xbox gamer, and this is a show dedicated to a hobby that not only we love, but a brand that we love, and we're excited to talk about. And I want to introduce someone who you know him as a man with nerves of steel, someone that will be so excited to play Resident Evil 3 when it launches on April 3rd, 2020, and someone that's patiently awaiting the VR version of Silent Hill. Please welcome Zemi Games.
Thank you so much, Boom. Super excited to be here. This is the second show. Technically, it's the third show that I've done this week. Because earlier I was on a little test stream for Stubbs. So super excited to be here. I've already seen the topics, and the viewers are definitely in for a big treat. Cannot wait to dive in. So thank you so much, Boom.
Well, listen, of course, it's always enjoyable to work with you, and and we always have fun. So that, at the end of the day, that's the most important. And last and no way least, someone that was literally and figuratively destroyed that he couldn't be on Tuesday's show because obviously family is first, and there was some family situations that he could not get away from. But he is here for your entertainment today. You know him as the Welsh gamer. Welsh, welcome to the show, dude.
Cheers, Boom, Zemi, Graphic God. I am so happy, man, to be here. Literally, I was so gutted about Tuesday's show, but what a great intro. I just want to take this opportunity to quickly and very promptly just announce that as it is 2020, and as promised, I will in fact be making content on my channel again. So be sure to go over there at the Welsh Gamer, subscribe and hit that bell icon. But just to add a little sprinkle of seasoning on this particular announcement, I thought I'd go about it a little bit differently. As obviously I've said from the start, Boom, like my commitments, I put 100% of my time on YouTube, if you will, as into this show. And the people I've met through this show in the live chat, I just thought it'd be a good opportunity to let the viewers decide what they want me to talk about or rant about. So I was wondering if people in the chat, if at any point you think of a topic that you actually want me to cover, just tag me in the live chat and write what your topic is. And at the end of the show, I will choose which one at random that I will do. Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but
no, it makes perfect sense. I mean, listen, you want to get the pulse of the public, the gaming public, who's very vocal, and of course, you want to cater to an audience that's going to come and tune in. And there's certainly nothing wrong with taking requests from this outstanding community.
No, absolutely, and I couldn't think of any like massive people I'd rather ask to help me with this particular concept, because YouTube's a hard game. But instead of just guessing what people want to hear, I thought, why don't I just ask the amazing fans that we have? So literally, any of you in the chat, I don't care who you are, if you're new or been here a while, please tag me at the Welsh Gamer in the live chat and write what you'd like me to discuss in a video. I'll be making a note of them all, and I will be getting through each and every one. I'll even do a personal a personal shout out to each individual, depending on the topic at hand. So say hypothetically, Scrub Nurse at Welsh Gamer, I want you to talk about X, Y, and Z. When I do publish that video, I'll do a shout out at the beginning for Scrub Nurse as an example. But yeah, that's all I got to say, guys. That's awesome. Can't wait to do the topics. We have a cracking show. Thank you for allowing me to do that announcement, Boom, and let's get to it.
Not a problem, dude. So listen, let's get into the first particular topic. Before we do, I have to thank a couple of people. First of all, Crazy Mate Gaming with the outstanding and very generous $2 super chat. He says, Happy New Year. Best year for games. Yeah, 2020 is going to be ridiculous. And like I said, I'll throw this out there. This is my public service announcement. And this is not from the police officer side of me. This is from the gamer who only has so much money side of me. I'm retired, so obviously there's one check per month. If you obviously the holidays just passed, right? And I know that there's been crazy good sales at GameStop and Game and Amazon and Toys R Us, because Toys R Us is coming back, and Amazon, Target. Save your gift cards, folks. This is going to be the most expensive year in gaming history. We're going to break it down tomorrow on tomorrow's morning's Breakfast with Boom on exactly what we know is coming out, what we think is coming out, and exactly how expensive it's going to be. I also like to thank Sin Vendetta for the outstanding $2 super chat. He says, Happy 2020 Boomin' panel. And yes, Happy New Year to you, my friend. But let's get into, of course, the first topic. Now, look, here's the thing. We're gonna get into our time machine before we get into what we're expecting in 2020. Now, obviously, if you look back to 2013, the dreaded 2013, many exactly. Great. I appreciate that. Many in the gaming community will see failure at the highest level for the Xbox brand. The leadership was completely out of touch with, obviously with the community and the gamers that power the system. And, I want to take it back even further, though. When you look at the OG Xbox, when that launched on November 15th of 2001, it was to give gamers another choice on where to play games. And it was glorious. And it's still revered as a pinnacle part of Microsoft history. Now, we saw an aggressive and overreaching Microsoft with the Xbox 360 that we all cheered almost the entire generation. And obviously, they were so ballsy and so forward thinking. They had a year up on the PlayStation 3, which of course had a disastrous start. And even with the red ring of death, the company strived to make it right with gamers. Now, even though Sony did in fact edge them out in terms of console sales, they went into 13 confident. Now, some, including myself, will agree that their overconfidence was in fact their Achilles heel. Now, we're going into 2020, and there's a confidence that is sweeping the gaming community unlike anything in this entire generation. And that is what we're going to be talking about on today's show as the first topic. Now, Microsoft and the Xbox brand are positioned to take back the lead with grabbing one of the most important aspects in business. And that, of course, is Mindshare. The reason I say take the lead is because it appears also that Microsoft will have a very strong first-party lineup alongside the Xbox Series X and, of course, its smaller brother, the S, as we've all donned it in the community. Now, if you add Xbox Game Pass to the mix, new owners of the two consoles will immediately have access to every launch title when they bring their new consoles home. Now, there's been talk about 3-month subscription cards being put into every box, and I actually believe that. Now, if you've been an Xbox fan, the pickings, for their first party have been slim in that department. And sure, there were some excellent new exclusives like Quantum Break, Sunset Overdrive, Rise, Son of Rome, Recore, Killer Instinct, and there's a host of others. But, some are going to ask, boom, why the ridiculous confidence and excitement for the next Xbox console? Well, my answer is extremely an easy one. With Halo Infinite, Gears Tactics, and Forza Motorsport 8 or Horizon 5 leading the charge into the next generation with 2020's launch of the X and S, my confidence personally is through the roof. But Welsh, I want to get your pulse on this because you obviously missed Tuesday's show, and I know that you have been chomping at the bit through DMs to give your opinion and, more importantly, your excitement levels on exactly what Microsoft is going to be doing with their new brand coming this year, obviously maybe about 10 or 11 months away. Why don't you tell us exactly why the confidence is through the roof and why Microsoft took Mindshare from the entire industry?
I don't want to say they did it easily or that it was a simple thing, but the bottom line I feel with the gaming industry, specifically in this particular case, the community, is with things like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the internet in general, and as crybaby gamers we're very vocal. We spit our dummies out every chance we get. We're very, it's not hard nowadays like it was back in the 360 days to tag Phil Spencer and co specifically in a tweet and request X, Y, and Z. So with that said, this generation, as you put it, Boom, Xbox went into it very, very big-headed, so big that I'm surprised any of the team could fit their head through a door, and it bit them in the ass. Really, they shot themselves in the foot, and we can all agree on that. You're never going to hear me fucking making excuses for them. Even though I had fun with my Xbox Fat model and the games that came with that, and I have had minimal complaints with regards to my gaming experience, but it is very safe and honest for us to say that between 2013 and now, there has been a lot of moments where we as the collective community have called Xbox out and said, this needs to change, that needs to get better. And because of those things, we have the best network you can possibly ask for, the best services with Xbox Game Pass. We have a stellar lineup of games coming with an even bigger growing lineup of first-party studios. Seems every day we're getting some news on something being acquired or made or this or that. And it's just an outstanding thing. And now, obviously, in the recent gaming space and in the current the freaking Cloud 20 of the Mindshare clan, we have the Xbox Series X in full force, taking up everyone's timeline, lover or hater. Everyone knows about this machine. It's an incredible seed, I want to say, to be planted for what this year and beyond is going to look like. And I'll put it like this. To sum up what I'm saying, the way they have taken the limelight off of everything else, it is just the first step. Because going into this new generation, come 2020's close with the fall of 2020, when this box releases, going into 2021, it's just like I've said in previous shows, and I've said this, I've said this before. What PlayStation did correctly this generation is they had excellent marketing, a great lineup of first-party titles, and they had the power. And since then, Xbox has clearly been taking notes, as well as us as the gamer and the fans of Xbox, giving them constructive criticism. But since then, they have checked every single box. So it's like I've said to you in previous shows, Boom. This new generation, Sony with their PS5 and Xbox, Microsoft with their Xbox Series X and Series S, or whatever they're going to be doing in terms of the Lockhart model, but doesn't matter. These both companies are going into the next generation with the exact same tools. But the difference is, with Xbox, on Xbox's side, we've already got at least 3 confirmed launch titles that are going to be completely utilized for the next generation. You've got Xbox Game Pass, which is a service that no other competitor has. All Xbox needs to do now, because we know they have the power, that's like an argument that we don't even need to settle. The power argument, they've already checked that box. So already Xbox with the Series X has got the best network with the cloud. It's got Project X Cloud, which no other system has. They've got Xbox Game Pass, which no other system has. They're going into 2020 with nearly 20 first-party developers, and some of those we don't even know what they're working on yet. What the hell are they working on the initiative? And and then on top of that, you've got Halo, Forza, and Gears Tactics, as well as Ninja Theory and all these other things like dropping. It's just all literally they've checked every box. All Xbox needs to do now is just absolutely hit home with the marketing, the custom consoles, all these little fine details to just capitalize. And I'm not going to say it's a wrap, because mark my words, Sony will be doing very similar things, if not the same things I just mentioned. But Xbox is in a very good position of strength, because after that mic drop at the Video Game Awards, they have built great momentum. They just need to take it home. So I'll just say this. I'll just end on this. I think they've done a lot of things right, based off, all the things they did wrong, they've corrected, and they've capitalized on those things. And going into I keep saying going into 2020. We're here, baby.
We have to get used to
We're
that.
already here, baby. But going in, proceeding into 2020 as we are, between now and the new generation beginning, and going into 2021. I know it's like all like, why are you talking about 2021? But all I can say is the future is very bright, very promising, and I personally can't believe what I'm seeing. Like, isn't it hard to believe that this is the same team?
Oh, it's crazy, dude. It's night and day.
Honestly, man, like literally, if you just close your eyes and look back at 2013, and then you open your eyes and look at what we have now, like in 2020, and going into a new generation, like it's like that era of Xbox didn't exist. Like, it's like I've said before, I personally think that when Phil released the Xbox One S, and that was around the same time that Game Pass was in full force, his acquisitions were in full force, that was his footprint on the Xbox brand. That was him basically saying, like Kylo Ren, you gotta let the past die. Like he literally, that was the cutoff point. He wanted to make his mark and be like, right, the Xbox One S, and we'd later see the One X, but that was his way of saying the Xbox Fat is not my box. That was the old Microsoft box. That was the Don Matrick box. This is me putting my footprint on the gaming map, and my God, has he delivered. And I got to be honest, usually when it comes to my opinion, I will always bring a negative to the forefront, to balance my argument. But this is the first time since 2013 I can confidently say that Xbox is going to go into a new generation with just about every single tool you need to succeed in beginning a generation. And it's like they say, begin how you mean to proceed. So like I just don't see this steam train stopping anytime soon, and they certainly have earned their right to be in those seats.
Oh, there's no doubt. That's actually very, very well said, dude. Absolutely. I know that's been pent up, and you've been raring to go with that. That's an excellent.
That vein in my neck has been bubbling since Tuesday, so I'm glad I got it out there. Thank you.
Well, definitely appreciate that. I got to thank Elemental Pio in the super chat for $5. He says. Okay, let me get back to it because this is going quick. Okay, he says, good morning, gamers. Boom. Using the marketing expertise, how would you advertise the Xbox brand for 2020 on TV? Well, you know what? That's a great point. And I think, my quick answer is that they need to use TV. Now, we've heard, Aaron Greenberg talk about, social media and it might be the better way to go. Listen, take another page out of Sony's book. I want to see this thing advertised in movie theaters. I want to see it advertised at NBA games, MLB games, NFL games,
NHL games.
Yeah, I want to see it everywhere. I want to be sitting home, sitting down, just chilling in front of the couch, and we see an Xbox commercial come up. That's what I want to see. I don't care whether it's TNT, whether it's regular channels or cable. They need to spend the bucks, and they need to, more importantly, express how accessible this new console, the cheaper one, is for the mass market. And of course, that is the casual audience. If they attack the casual audience the way Sony has, by appealing to them with cheaper hardware and awesome looking games, they could logistically give Sony a real run for their money, for Mindshare, for console sales, for hardware sales, for anything that involves the business of Microsoft and Xbox. If they appeal to the 85+% of the people that bought PlayStation. See, now that's one thing that I really get annoyed when I hear people say, well, listen, Boom, no one's going to give up their whole library to become an Xbox. And I have to keep saying this. Folks, no one has to give up shit. Stop saying that. I don't know. I mean, I think I've been pretty open about how I play on consoles. You can own multiple consoles and not turn into a toad. I'm living proof. So, you know what? Get that out of your head about having to switch. Maybe they want choice. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they want to play different games on different consoles because different consoles and brands offer a different type of experience. I don't know. Call me a lunatic. That is fine. But
can I just say one last thing? Because like I said, I've been chomping since Tuesday, and this is one thing I forgot to mention. But another massive tool, another huge tool that Xbox needs to capitalize on, and I'm glad you actually said, it's what reminded me, you said they need to take another note out of Sony's book and market the shit out of their box and get it in every which way, every orifice, from movies, cinemas, bloody hell, YouTube, what you name it. I want to see it everywhere I go, and I couldn't agree more. But this is the thing. Xbox has an angle that no other competitor has at the moment, and that is the fact that with the X Cloud being able to stream on multiple devices, the One S and the Series S and the Series X, so two SKUs, the premium SKU and the casual SKU.
Yes.
They literally need. I wish I could just chew on Aaron Greenberg's ear for just 5 minutes, so I could just say to him, like, dude. Even though personally, if you were to ask me what I think, I'd say I have no complaints. I have no concerns. I do not see them ignoring the fact that that was one of their weaknesses this whole generation. If they don't market that shit like the PS4 did, then they're just losing out on a huge opportunity. Because like I said, they're coming in hot with a few different SKUs for the cheaper, for the casual audience, the people who want a cheap entry model, and then you've got your premium model. They need to shove that shit down people's throats. I mean, literally, even if people are like a baby not ready to eat their food, like, here comes the airplane. They need to get a crowbar in that kid's mouth, wrench
You just slap them upside the back of the head and their mouth opens up and shove it in.
There you go. That's how you do the business.
It's literally, they need to, honestly, let's just put this into perspective. Everything I've just said, like combined into one big, like Pokeball, if you will, and just shove that shit down every person's throat. I want it everywhere. Let's just be fair here. Microsoft aren't short on cash. They can put ads out on every possible outlet available, and they'd be stupid not to. But I got to be honest, I don't think they're going to make that mistake twice.
No, I would agree. It's certainly real quick. I'm going to get to J Dubs, aka the Graphic God. But first, I have to thank Scrub Nurse for the outstanding and very generous $5 subject. He says, Mindshare with the Series X and games to and the games to come. The future is looking so green. I mean bright. Like and subscribe. Let's get those numbers up. Yes, I want to just touch on that. First of all, we have nearly 300 people watching already, which is ridiculous. Okay, I'm always excited and shocked how many people love and love the programming and turn out each and every show. If you are new, I just want to throw this out there. You are welcome. I don't care what console you play. You could be a PC guy or gal, Xbox only, PS only, Switch, a little bit of both, or not like myself and play everything. That's fine. You are welcome here. Your opinion is welcome here. This is a very friendly chat. Everyone in the chat is very welcoming. If you are new, I have to figure out what I'm doing wrong that people don't want to subscribe, because the last check has 48% of views are not subscribed. And I'm a little shocked by that number because I do put out a pretty good product, I think, and I'm not tooting my own horn. If I was shortcoming the community, I'd be the first one to kick my own ass. But I do put out 6+ hours of I think quality content per week, not per month. Every week you get 6+ hours, or you get 3 live shows. If you're new and if you're enjoying it and not already subscribed, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. If you don't want to hit the thumbs up button, I don't know why you wouldn't, but if you don't, that's fine. But subscribe. Real quick, I have Greg Clark with the outstanding and very generous $2 super chat. He says 2020 will be huge for Xbox. Keep that energy alive. Yes, indeed, fine, sir. I definitely will keep that energy. But you know what, Jay, I want to go to you for a second, because here's the thing. I still think that Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2 will be a launch title. I still think that Killer Instinct 2 will be there as well. And I also think that those trips to Japan that Phil Spencer took could have garnered second and third party exclusives or an exclusive or two for the launch in holiday 2020. Now, here's the thing, Jay. I could be 1,000% wrong, and absolutely, I don't give a shit, because I've been wrong before. But I want to get your opinion on this. First of all, what does Microsoft need to do to continue this Mindshare assault? But also, what do you think they're going to do when this console launches in 10 months?
Well, just to go back on what you were saying earlier, okay? So I hope everything that you just predicted comes true. I want all those games to come at launch. And of course, because I'm a gamer, I want to play these games. But in all honesty, I feel that Xbox has a very steep hill to climb, mainly because of what Sony laid down the platform, or laid down the foundation for coming into this new year. They basically catered, like we said, to the casuals so much by giving them everything they wanted. They wanted third-person over-the-shoulder, first-person action games. Check. They got that. They wanted, trying to think what else. They gave them PS Now with downloadable content. Check. They catered to the casuals to the point where it's going to be very, very hard to get those people to jump platform. And it's totally true. They laid the foundation for that. They were trying to make sure that they're grabbing a hold of these casuals and putting them in that ecosystem so that they wouldn't feel the need to have to jump to any other platform by giving them everything that they wanted. But Microsoft is on the right path now. They've got the power. Soon they'll have the games. they've got the developers. Phil is basically making up for all the mistakes of yesteryears, and hopefully this will all pay off for them, because Sony did put down that platform. Sony captured those casuals, and it's going to be a really steep hill to climb to get them back.
I mean, listen, I agree with you, and you have to understand, if you think that there isn't a tough hill to climb, if you don't feel that Microsoft is going to be ice skating uphill, so to speak, I would agree with that. I think that I agree with it, but here's why I think it's not going to be as difficult as you think. And the reason why I say that is this. Microsoft, this wasn't an instant turnaround. Like this has been building since Phil took over as the right hand of Satya Nadella, right? Since he was given the big seat at the table. And yes, Microsoft is a very big ship, and it is going to take a tremendous amount of turning to get it to do that 180 that we all hope that, and that's going to happen this generation. But with that said, E3 post E3 2018, right? The 5 new studios, the creation of the initiative, and then throughout the next 18 months, it was getting. We're going to talk about later on in the show about the newest addition to the initiative, and all I can tell you is, holy F, man, they are just attracting and stealing talent from the best games of this generation, and that is a big deal. But I agree with you. I think it's certainly nothing is guaranteed, but I think that with the hardware, right, which with the power is gonna satisfy your hardcore. With a cheaper $299 Xbox Series S version that's going to appeal to the younger generation, right? The generation that plays on tablets, that plays on phones, that don't need a disk drive, but still want to be able to get involved in the next generation at an entry price that is fair and acceptable. And the games at the end of the day are going to be important. And I think that we are all going to be very surprised what games launch with this console outside of what we already know. But is there anything else, Jay, you'd like to add to this particular topic before I move on to semi games?
No, and I'm glad you brought up the X Cloud, because that is another big piece of
X Cloud. Project. Oh my God, why did it slip my mind? I hate having a brain fart live on the air. Project X Cloud. Yes, Project X Cloud is going to be a big deal because, like you were just about to allude to, there's a whole market of mobile gamers that they can appeal to.
For sure. And I mean, I've been seeing on and off throughout my Twitter feed in the last couple of weeks, people very, very excited to be on vacation or, be on holiday out with the wife. The wife is at the mall doing her shopping, and I'm sitting down with my xCloud controller playing some games. I mean, they're not playing mobile games. They're playing Xbox games on the fly. So if that doesn't appeal to a huge majority of people, I don't know what else would. I mean, they're not only are they going to one up PlayStation people, but they're also one upping Nintendo people. If you think about it, Nintendo has to deal with the Switch, which the Switch, not to take anything away from those games, but we know the power of the Switch is nowhere near the power of Xbox. And if you're getting Xbox quality games on your existing mobile device, that's a win-win.
Yeah, I agree.
I do honestly think a lot of people are truly underestimating how powerful this xCloud, this entity is going to be. Like you just said it, Jay. But just think about it. Like the amount of that's another angle we could come at all the live long day. We can talk about power and marketing and stuff like that, but it's so people really need to sink this in now. Like, look at how many kids from the age of 3 to bloody 13 are on their mum and dad's iPad or their own iPad or whatever, or what? And they're playing Minecraft, they're playing Angry Birds, they're playing that's what a lot of kids do. Now imagine that same kid can now play Xbox games, without having to invest in a box or this or that. They just You know, they just get a controller, hook it up to their tablet. Wow, job's a good one. Do you know what I mean? It's like that is going to increase the player base and the Xbox Game Pass subscription count astronomically. And I think a lot of people aren't even acknowledging what a power move that is.
Yeah.
No, that's yeah, very well said.
They totally need to get the word out about what xCloud is and what it can give to people, because even just this last week, friends of mine were over for Christmas. We were downstairs in my rec room playing Xbox, and no word of a lie, my friend turned to me and said, "Wouldn't it be great if there was like a service like Netflix where we could actually like play games, just like, you know, pick a game and start playing it?" And I looked at him with that confused look, like, "Where have you been?" But
yeah,
he's a casual. That's the thing.
Exactly.
He's a casual. They have to start catering to the casuals to get them to understand what is out there.
No, that is such an amazing scenario. That is the perfect example here. This is precisely what I was just saying a moment ago, what you're saying now, what we're trying to say. Christ, Phil and team, if you're listening, you need to push this down everyone's gullet. Literally, they need to just put this shit out there and drum it in, because like you said, like if it's not even reaching the casuals yet, then you're already behind in the race. Like, you've got all these phenomenal tools at your disposal, and it's not reaching the ears of the people you want it to get to. Like, because imagine your was it your friend or your brother? Did you say?
No, it's a friend of mine.
A friend. Like that. How perfect is that? Like almost sounds too good to be true.
And the crazy thing is that he's only an Xbox guy, right? He doesn't have multiple consoles. He only plays Xbox, and he plays it with his son. And I'm still baffled that he didn't hear about xCloud. Didn't hear about Game Pass.
Yeah, no, it is absolutely mind-blowing, but this is precisely why the guys over at Xbox need to take examples like that under their belt and be like, right, we need to fix this problem, because we've got an amazing service and we're not reaching our full potential with it because we're not putting it out there for people to see enough.
Yeah.
No, that's actually great. Well, listen, Zemi, I want to get your opinion on this. First of all, there is a tremendous amount of excitement, not only on this panel, but, you know, obviously there are other shows like RDX, run by Dealer Gaming, who, of course, was a guest here on Tuesday. Of course, Randall Thor and Jez Corden of Windows Central. They have the Xbox 2 podcast, which I believe should be going live today. Every one of those guys are excited. But for you, my question is very simple. What is your personal thoughts for the Xbox brand in 2020? And how confident are you that they are going to have an outstanding console launch?
Well, I mean, just looking at what they have done, what Phil Spencer and all the hardworking people at Xbox have done so far since, 2013 all the way to now, all the hard work that they put in, and how the company's ideology has changed since then. I'm extremely confident, going into 2020, going into the next generation of consoles, that Xbox is, in my opinion, going to have one of the best launches in their company's history, just flat out like that. The only exception to that is if they don't execute it correctly. They have all the tools in their toolbox. They have all the guns and ammo, ready for their war. They just need to figure out when and where, all the battles should be, and they just need to execute it correctly. And, you guys were kind of talking about, xCloud and all these different things. And I agree 100%. All of the small little pieces of news that we've been getting these last, couple of years have all, eventually came up to this point. Like, they're all little puzzle pieces. And whenever you put them together, then you kind of see what, Xbox's master plan is. Of course, they have the power narrative with the Series X. They have the price, with hopefully the Series X, matching the price of the PS5, but also with, what is rumored to be the Lockhart or the Series S, the more affordable option. They have Game Pass, the ability to play 200 plus games for a low monthly fee. And then to top all of that, they have xCloud, which is, absolutely a game changer, especially, like Welsh was saying with the youth. A lot of these younger kids, you see them all the time, like in the mall and the grocery store. They're always constantly on their mom's, or their dad's, phone, playing games, doing all sorts of things. So with the youth, xCloud is going to be huge. But then not only with them, in the Japanese market, in these Asian markets where mobile gaming is so huge, even over here in the States, in UK and Europe, where mobile gaming is, very prevalent, that is a huge way of breaking into that market and getting people to, join the Xbox platform. And, whenever we say launch, right, we're really talking about the Series X and the Series S, but but I think it's more than that. It's not just those two consoles. It's the whole Xbox brand as a whole. It's not just, console games, or gaming on a console. It's really gaming anywhere. That's where the industry is heading. And so for that reason, they are situating themselves in the perfect position to, make it where not having the right amount of money isn't an issue to you not being able to play the games that you want. You were talking about PlayStation, for instance. A lot of people are going to be hesitant to jump over to Xbox, and I absolutely 100% agree with that. I think a lot of PlayStation players are going to buy their PlayStation 5 or keep playing their PlayStation 4 until the console that they want, the PlayStation 5, goes on sale. But the ingenious part about what Xbox is doing here is the fact that you can have your PlayStation 5 and then you can also use your smartphone to play Xbox games, or you could go out and buy, a $300, Xbox Series S to play on. And that's the ingenious part of just that, but then also, you're talking about the games, but not only are we talking about first party games, we're talking about the variety that's set in those games. Xbox spent a lot of time looking through all of these different studios to figure out which ones they think are going to offer the most to the brand, which ones are going to fill, their empty portfolios, right? They have Obsidian for RPGs. They have In Exile for RPGs, as well, of course. They have racing games. They have shooters. They have third-person shooters. They have single-player narrative-driven games like Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. So they have that variety with the games, which, is a huge thing because not everyone is into first person shooters. A lot of people are into platformers. A lot of people are into single player games. Not everyone is into those, heavy multiplayer games, which is kind of what Xbox was previously, especially in 2013, whereas most of their first party games coming out were mostly, a lot of them were, multiplayer. So, whenever you take in all of the different pieces that Xbox has been putting together, they have all the guns and ammunition, if you will, to succeed. It's just executing it correctly. And when you guys were talking about advertisements, I 110% agree. Xbox needs to push for more advertisements on, social medias like YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, also on television, during sporting events, whatever it may be. They need to get out and they need to inform the public about what their, system is. They need to have advertisements saying, Xbox Series starting at $299. They need to have Game Pass commercials telling people what Game Pass is. They need to
cater to people like the people they're catering to are 5-year-olds. They need to say, this is the product and this is exactly what it does. That's what they need to do. Yeah. Like, for instance, if they're going to be advertising xCloud, they need to say xCloud, play your Xbox games anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the devices you own. They need to be blatant about this because we all know people aren't all that smart.
I mean, I don't think that consumers are dumb. I mean, I think your average consumer can look at an advertisement and understand what it means. But I think it's not just important to put, one big advertisement campaign out. I think that they need to really stretch out their advertisements because I don't think consumers are dumb, but I think people do forget, people do forget and they have selective memory of what they want to remember. And the more advertisements,
That's a really good way to put it. Selective memory. I have to tell my wife that I have selective memory daily.
Yeah, the more you shove it down their throats, the more they are going to realize that it is a thing that exists. I think another huge thing, and we've kind of talked about this before as well, is including 3 months of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate in the consoles and making advertisements talking about play 200 plus games online and single player for free, with your purchase of the new Xbox Series console starting at $299. I mean, they need to really push out there with the price, with the power, with what this console can do, with the value of Game Pass, and I think it will succeed. But with that being said, that all comes down to executing it correctly, which I have very, very strong feelings that they're going to do just that, and they're going to knock it out of the park with how Xbox has been going so far this generation and how they've turned around the company.
No, I agree. I don't think we're going to see the mistakes of the past. I really don't. I think that they went back and they looked at what didn't work, and if what they're doing now is a prelude to what we should expect in the next generation, then I'm expecting big things. Real quick before we move on to the next topic, I have to thank Michael Chur. I'm going to butcher your name and I apologize. I'm going to see if I get it right. Chur Richicello. He drops a $5 super chat and he says, didn't showing the Series X on the Game Awards reach the masses? And yes, I would 1000% agree with you on that. I think that not only was that incredible, the fact that it didn't leak, the fact that it surprised 45 million people that were watching it is why the Mindshare has completely shifted to everything Xbox. Now, sure, Sony has said, see the future. So I think we're going to get something at CES, which I believe is the 6th, which is next week. But what are we going to get? I don't know. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I'm going to be honest with you. I know Corey Barlog is supposed to be there. I don't know if he's presenting or what exactly he is going to do. Some people are starting to speculate that he's going to show God of War 2 running on the PS5. Is it possible? Sure, but I think you're going to get that kind of reveal at Sony's event. Now, whether that event is going to be...
When is the last time Sony innovated? Answer me that.
I listen. I mean, you can say PSVR if you want to say innovation, but it depends on who you ask. I mean, I do like what they did with their first party, and again, they took a lot of.
And I'm not taking anything away from the first party because they were killer, but was there a lot of innovation in that first party?
Not really. I mean, the only thing you can say is God of War really went, it was a different view, and I think that Sony Santa Monica did the right thing to take it that direction, because an old school God of War wouldn't have done well. I can assure you of that. But
yeah, again, Rain G4 says in the chat, Sony innovated the gaming media. Yeah, I think they innovated the gaming media with money.
Well, yeah,
I don't think they innovated. I don't think they innovated the gaming media. I think they full on invaded the gaming media.
Yeah,
but like I've always this thing like this is the thing we've talked up till now about like what Xbox needs to do next generation. I think it's high time that I make a point about PlayStation. I think the only thing PlayStation is missing is just some innovation, some originality. I mean, like from where I'm sitting, people can call me out as much as they want. But this is an old saying that a good friend of mine, E-Rock, told me a long time ago, and it has stuck with me because it's so true. Xbox innovates, PlayStation imitates. They're all, and that's not a slight. It just means that Xbox is very forward-thinking, and they're so ahead of the race, and that's why next generation is going to be a very interesting showing, because I've no doubt PlayStation is cooking up their own version of Game Pass and maybe their own version of xCloud, and they want to be a contender in this particular race. But we have to settle this argument now. Xbox are the ones who put these things in place going back to 2014.
And it's been good and bad on their part, because some of their innovations have paid off. A lot of them have not.
Well, look at the bloody Kinect, like Kinect 2.0. Like like, okay, we can all agree, even though I did enjoy mine for what it was, but we can all agree it was pretty pants. It didn't do a whole lot. So little, so little so that they got rid of it after like a couple of years. Like they didn't even make it. But the fact that they tried, that is what innovation is. Because
I agree.
in an alternate
100%.
reality, that particular bit of kit could have been a huge success, but in this particular reality, it wasn't. And they scratched it off the whiteboard and were like, we tried something new, it didn't work, on to the next project. And since then, they've been hitting all strides. Like Game Pass could have failed, but it didn't. But they would never have known without innovating. That is why Xbox, in my opinion, are the forward thinkers and the leaders of the gaming industry, despite what the numbers say.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I would agree. I definitely agree. But what I want to do is I want to move on to the next topic because I think it's pretty interesting, the next one. But I have to thank Alex1324. He says he disagrees, I guess, with the TV aspect of advertising. The Stadia commercials are awful. They're not very descriptive about what it does to non-informed consumers like kids and busy parents. I mean, yeah, the console is awful. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. It's a terrible piece of technology that has no games. It has old games. Sure, it has games. It has old games, and their few exclusives are just not worth buying or playing it for that matter. But I mean, again, that's again a horse of another color. But I want to move on to the next topic, and I think it's a good one. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this because obviously. It's interesting. Now you'll see the description pop up on the screen now, and one of the hashtag fun things about being a content creator is you get to read a lot of tweets, articles, and other forms of readable content while preparing for a show. At least that's how I prepare for a show. I read anywhere between 30 and 50 articles, and as everyone on this panel could attest to. My show notes are anywhere between 4,000 and 5,000 words per show. I do 3 shows, just do the math. That's how much I write. I write more than I actually game. But I came across something last night, very late last night, while I was up writing for today's show that I needed to add to today's special edition of the Xbox Factor podcast. Now, Perfect Dark and Joanna Dark are names from a forgotten time in gaming. There's no doubt about it. Now, the game Perfect Dark made its first appearance on the N64 and was released on May 20th of 2000. The sequel was then released on November 22nd in 2005 and launched with the Xbox 360. Now, if you were to ask about Perfect Dark or its amazing protagonist, Joanna Dark, you would be, and if you asked the younger generation, you would be given a hearty WTF look, and look I'm talking about. Now, most gamers who are under the age of 30 will not know what the hell we are talking about. But with that said, there has been rumors for years, at least since the beginning of 2018, that not only was there a chance to bring back the long-lost IP, but to have Rare be the ones to do it. Now, in early 2018, there was talk that the coalition was being considered to handle the reboot of the franchise. Now, sadly, that rumor never took form and haven't been really discussed in the last couple of months until now. Now, I'm going to read you a huge write-up on Perfect Dark that was posted by Psycho Baker of Twitter. And this document that he provided with that tweet, and this is what this is exactly what it had to say. At the top of the header, it says, the Xbox Live API SDK leak provides outlook on upcoming Xbox One exclusive games. Now, it says here in fine print, the reset error user, Clobriel, revealed that he still had access to internal systems where the project entries are stored. Now, this is what it exactly says, and this is why I'm excited. While there has been much speculation about the UK studio Rare that might be working on the next Perfect Dark, Loeb revealed that it's not a new Perfect Dark game. Today, no one is working on a Perfect Dark game, he said, while also pointing out that the Perfect Dark series has been in discussion a lot regarding which franchise Microsoft should bring back in the new generation. Now, this is where it gets pretty interesting. Loeb also teased that a new Perfect Dark could, if it ever does get made, be a more story-driven game that dives into who Joanna Dark is. He also suggested that it might not even be a shooter, as Microsoft has already a shooter space covered well with Halo and the Gears of War franchise. Now, this is what Loeb had to say, and I quote, "In a world where you have Halo and you have Gears, having another Perfect Dark style game maybe makes a little bit less sense than something that's a little bit more story driven around Joanna Dark. Whether that's a third person action stealth game, etc., we love the IP. Now, Perfect Dark Zero was set in the year 2000, which Loeb teased again could make for a fitting time to see the series return to life. And this is what he said. Maybe we'll see another Joanna Dark game with a Perfect Dark game with Joanna Dark by 2020. That would be a very interesting year to bring her back. Now, again, folks, this is one of those topics that you say, well, boom, there's no real evidence, and but I say like this. First of all, no one is talking about this. All right, that's number one. Number two, there's probably half the 500 people that we got watching. Thank you so much for being here. That may not even know who the hell Joanna Dark is. But I can tell you this. If this is going to be one of the older IPs that they bring back, and they do it up in a genre that has been missing from this entire generation. I'm looking at you, Ubisoft, with your damn no Splinter Cell. If they could turn around and bring Joanna Dark back and reinvent the IP in the same vein as like a Splinter Cell, where it was a third-person stealth action game, where of course there was gunfire in there, but you mostly stealth killed your the entire level. It would be epic. So I want to go to Welsh Gamer on this. Welsh, when I put this in the DM, I know you must have raised your eyes because you, like myself, have been clamoring for a new Splinter Cell game. But could you imagine if they took Joanna Dark and gave it the Splinter Cell makeover, filling a need in the genre that has been absent the entire generation? What are your thoughts on that, dude?
My initial thoughts is, boom, you bastard. You took every word out of my mouth. You bastard. God damn it, you bastard. No, mate, you literally just said it. All I was going to say is they should knock the first person out of it, turn it into a third person, like, tactical, stealthy, your Joanna Dark and they should literally... you literally said it, boom, you bastard. But they literally, mate, they should just give us, their version of Splinter Cell. Mate, I would be all in on that. That would be incredible. And the fact of the matter is, we already know they're working on Everwild. They're always updating and improving and building on the world they created.
Well, they're rumored to be working on another project outside of Sea of Thieves and, of course, Everwild, which I brought up on the screen a little while ago. Could that game actually be Perfect Dark? And we have heard that the Coalition has been helping them with what, I'd like to know.
Well, I mean, the fact that the Coalition are behind Gears, and Gears is easily the best third-person cover shooter you can possibly play right now.
Yes, I agree.
Putting one and one together, I would assume that they're going for a similar... I even think of Hitman, Hitman, Hitman like New Blood, and is it New Blood? I can't remember. But the sneaking around, the hiding behind cover, the third person, the character model, all the tools in your belt. I could see Rare doing something similar to that with the Perfect Dark formula and the Joanna Dark protagonist. I could really see them doing their own version not completely copying or mimicking, because as we just spoke of a moment ago, Xbox and its first party are all about innovating and trying new things. But you took the words right out of my mouth, you bastard. There's a hole that needs filling, and that is that we've all been clamoring for a Splinter Cell. We've all been saying for years now. Now, why not throw a curveball our way and be like, okay, it's not quite Splinter Cell. We know you wanted Splinter Cell, but
it's our own version.
Yeah,
it's the exclusive version of Splinter Cell.
Precisely. All I can literally, I've never been so rendered to such a little amount to say, other than you bastard. You stole what I was going to say, but I couldn't agree more. That would be an amazing feat, and I'd love to see them reinvent the genre in its reinvent the title itself. Like the older games were obviously old, clunky first-person shooters on the Nintendo. As great as they were for their time, I just want them to do what they did with like God of War. Like we talked about God of War. If you compare the older God of Wars to the newer one, it's like chalk and cheese. They're completely different. Obviously, the story continues and they're connected, but they went for a totally different art style, a different approach, and it worked dividends. That is what. It never hurts to make that comparison. And with the coalition behind Gears and Gears Tactics and all those guys like chiming in and helping, again, the first party network clamoring, cooperating together, I think it's fantastic. It just speaks volumes for me. I could truly see like a Tomb Raider, Hitman / Splinter Cell, mishmash, like almost like Lara Croft, Agent 47, and the guy from Splinter Cell just went to a motel and had a 10-hour orgy and spat out bloody perfect art. Like that is shit I could get on board with, Boom. And once more time, you bastard.
Well, listen, I'm going to say this. First of all, I have to thank, before I get to the graphic god, Greg Clark with the outstanding and additional $2 super chat. He says 460 watching, only 28 likes. Hit the like button. Yes, first of all, Greg, thank you for the generosity. Thank you for being here, and thank you for pushing the envelope. Listen, I'm gonna steal one from Dealer. I hear this because I listen to usually RDX twice because a lot of the times I'm cleaning, I'm in the gym, I'm doing different things, so I miss some stuff. So I like to give him 2 views per RDX because it's a freaking great show, so I love it. And he always says, how about we get 300 likes before the end of the show and 1,000 after the fact? So listen, if you are enjoying the show, let's pull a Dealer. Let's get some likes into this. Let's get about 300 likes before the 508 people watching today's show. Guys, gals, if you're enjoying it, hit the like button. Trust me when I tell you, once you hit it, not only are you going to feel better, but you won't turn into a pumpkin, I promise. But Graphic God, listen, I'm glad you're here for this because, like me, you are an old bastard, like the Welsh gamer was just calling me. But you also appreciate where gaming is because we appreciate where it came from. And Joanna Dark is one of those IPs that have laid dormant since 2005's so release of Perfect Dark for the Xbox 360. Now, with the possibility of a reboot, I agree with the fact that they shouldn't release it as a first person simply because, like I said, and I stole poor Welsh's answer, the market is wide open and starving for a third-person action stealth game on the lines of a Splinter Cell or a Metal Gear Solid. And if Microsoft could bring this character back. First of all, there's a couple of things. Now, some people may disagree with this. She's a strong female lead character. Now, some people say, well, boom, what does that make a difference? Well, because female lead characters, we don't have enough of them. We used to have a lot of them, and we went to the dude bro shooter, and I would like to see more heroines in my games like Lara Croft and other female characters that we know and love. And I think Joanna Dark, there is a place for her. So a strong female lead is big. All right. Now, if you disagree with me, that's fine. Listen, my opinion is mine and yours is yours. But that's what I want to see. Second of all, it's an IP that it's been gone long enough that when it comes out, it's going to be fresh and new. And giving it a third-person makeover and starting starting anew and learning about who Joanna Dark is, who her dad was, who he worked for. It would be very interesting. Would you be, as a gamer, interested in something like that?
Oh, I'd totally be interested in something like that. I mean, I'm a humongous fan of all the Tomb Raider games, and Tomb Raider proved that you don't have to be a dude with a gun.
Yes, thank you.
To be an awesome game. And if Microsoft was to take that chance and to do kind of like a 360 with Joanna Dark, pull her out of first person, bring her into third person, give her an amazing backstory, give her some amazing tools, and some cool, innovative gameplay, I totally think it'd be a win-win for Microsoft to pull that card out. And yes, will they be taking a risk? I believe they will be, but I think it's a risk they need to take, just because, like I said, I'm a big fan of that genre, and I think Microsoft totally needs more of that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I absolutely agree. I think that when you think of Microsoft in this generation, I keep seeing the word new and innovative and inventive and inclusive. And these are the things that they're going to need to do to bring the masses back to the Xbox brand. And what better way to do that than put out a game that most people will not remember? It's going to be considered a new IP, even though they're going into their back.
Yeah, I mean, we also have to take into consideration that probably more than 50% of the people playing never owned an N64.
Yes,
so they wouldn't even know what the game is. So.
Yes, and of course that would be the new IP that people who were Xbox fans and left, who are considering coming back over or just buying an Xbox for the first time, would be considered like, oh, look at this IP. Oh my God, that's like Splinter Cell when I played Splinter Cell on the PS2 or the Xbox. Wow, that looks great. Joanna Dark, who is this character? I want to learn more. So yes, it absolutely could be. Zemi, before I get to you, I have to thank Shastri for the outstanding $5 super chat. He says, as Phil Spencer stated, Microsoft will reveal a game every show. Great point. We will see a game revealed at CES. Mark my words, and I agree with you. Also, Game Pass is the future of gaming. Absolutely, it certainly is. And LMNOPO with the additional outstanding and very generous $5 super chat. He says, Perfect Dark was definitely, hold on a sec, my thing is going so far. It was definitely a spiritual sequel to GoldenEye N64. That is very correct, because both those games are classic and incredible. And a Splinter Cell makeover sounds good. I agree with you on that. So Zemi, I want to get your opinion on this. Obviously this topic is a bit of a stretch, but again, the reason why you turn into Double Barrel Gaming, the reason why you turn into the 3 live shows is because I talk about games and on stories that are not getting a lot of traction. And I think that's what makes me different from a lot of the great podcasters, that you're going to get something different. Because to be honest with you, if I sounded like Rand and Jez or RDX and all those amazing podcasters, it would kind of be boring, right? Like, you would, I mean, yeah, sure, we're going to talk about some of the same things, but to follow suit in exactly what they do, I think, why would you tune into my show? So that's why this particular topic is here. But again, I understand it's a stretch, but this is not the first time, Zemi, that we've heard about Perfect Dark. And this is not the first time we've also heard that Rare was working on multiple projects. And this is certainly not the first time that we've heard about Perfect Dark being made into a third-person stealth action title. So my question to you is this. With the document that I read from, the industry insider known as Clobriel named in it, and the fact that we know Rare is working on another quote-unquote secret project, could there be a new Perfect Dark in active development, and would you want to see that happen?
You really want this to happen, don't you, Boom?
You better believe it.
I do too. I've never played Perfect Dark. I'm just going to be honest.
Okay.
I've heard of it before. I've seen a little bit of gameplay. I just never played it. But whenever you were, just like reading over everything and stuff like that, I actually thought, oh my god, Splinter Cell, that would be fantastic. Like a Splinter Cell like spinoff kind of thing. And I think that would be perfect for the platform. I mean, like I was saying before, I mean, variety is everything. That's a huge thing for Xbox. Not everybody wants to play a first-person shooter. Not everybody wants to play a multiplayer game. Not everybody wants to play a single-player game. I mean, that's true. And so. Adding in, a very stealth like Splinter Cell clone with an already, established, I guess franchise would be absolutely fantastic. I 100% think that if they did in fact do this, I think it should 100% be a reboot. It should not be a sequel in any way, shape, or
100%. Absolutely,
100%. They should completely disregard the other two games. I believe there's two games, right?
Yeah.
They should completely disregard those two other games. Obviously, they should take things from them, 100%. But it should be like a brand new launch of a brand new / old IP. And I think that would do fantastically. So I mean, and you guys were also kind of talking about risk. I don't think that there really is any risk. And the reason I say that is so long as they make a good game with, a good story, there really is no risk because it's going to go and be thrown into Game Pass, right? It's not like it's going to be a $60 game that people are going to have to go out and pay $60 for. Millions of people will download it and play it just because it's available to them in Game Pass, right?
Yeah,
so I don't really think that there is that big of a risk if they did decide to do it, but I think that it would be bringing variety to their first party, which seems to be what they're looking to do. I think it's a fantastic idea, and I really hope it happens.
Well, that makes two of us, dude. Honestly, that I'm hoping it happens because I enjoyed both Perfect Dark games. I think that Joanna Dark has a place more now than ever. I think like Welsh was saying that the market is starving for a high quality stealth action game, and who better and when better to put that out on. Now again, I'm not saying this is going to be a launch title. For all I know, that this could be just pen to paper at this point. But if this is announced, where we get to know who's doing it and when we have a potential of it coming out, it could generate tremendous buzz. And I know that this is an Xbox show, but with you really can't talk Xbox without talking about PlayStation. And you look at what they did. How many consoles did they sell on a God of War trailer for years before the game came out, right? We saw a gameplay and everyone went ape shit. Same thing with Spider-Man, same thing with Detroit Become Human, same thing with The Last of Us 2, same thing with the Ghost of Tsushima, the same thing with Death Stranding. When Death Stranding was not even gum on his shoe, people were like, game of the century, right? So I understand Microsoft isn't going to really go out of their lane, and we're not going to see games 18 years out. But we do see them. They kind of loosen the belt a little bit, right? Because, I mean,
they get on their turkey pants.
They got on their turkey pants. That's right. So I mean, listen, new and different things are happening at Microsoft. I love the fact that there's a possibility of bringing older IPs forward. I mean, I'll say it again. I know I might get booed. I might get cheered for this. I'm still holding out that a Banjo-Kazooie gets made by somebody. I'd love to see Conquer come back. I'd love to see MechAssault come back. I'd love to see Ninja Gaiden come back as an exclusive for Microsoft. I would love to see so many of their original OG Xbox games. Crimson Skies. My God, that game was so good. And
think
still...
Think about the new flight simulator that they're going to announce, right?
Yes.
Imagine combining some of the realistic graphics with Flight Simulator with Crimson Skies. Mind-blowing.
It would be ridiculous. It would be. And I'm going to throw this out there. Zemi had suggested A Plague's Tale, which I finally started. It was on my backlist of shame. My goodness, if you did not pick up that game, this is... I'm going to put it to you this way. I said it on Twitter. It's not a topic. I'm going to write an original topic, probably for next week's show, on why Microsoft must absolutely 1000% pick up a Sobo Studio, because not only, if you look at Plague's Tale, it is one of those PlayStation 4 over-the-shoulder quality third-person, adult-themed, story-driven game with a little bit of RPG in there. And then they're doing Flight Simulator totally on the other side of the border, and it looks amazing. That is a talented studio. But I want to get up to the next particular topic now. As you guys can read on the screen, right? Guys and gals, you can read on the screen that another God of War senior environment artist joins Microsoft's The Initiative studio, and it appears that The Initiative is not done hiring. And I'm waiting for the Welsh to come out and say, what the
hell are they working on in The Initiative? God damn it, those bastards!
Look, I'm going to say this: if there's one thing that many people will agree. Now, you could disagree, and that's fine, but I'm going to give my point on it. 2018's God of War was nothing short of a modern-day masterpiece. That's my opinion. If you don't agree, I hear you, but that's my opinion. By all rights, it should have been my game of the year 2018 and was edged out by the outstanding Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Now, I don't know what it is, a love affair, whatever you want to call it. I love Ubisoft. I love their open world games. More importantly, I love Assassin's Creed, and that's one of my favorites. But not only is Cory Barlog an incredible leader, he assembled an outstanding group of developers to reinvent the wheel with the franchise, and was one of the pinnacle titles in the PlayStation library this generation. Well, new information has just surfaced in a story pulled from Windows Central, one of my favorite places to get news from. It appears that The Initiative has hired principal environment artist Eric Jacobson, who joined The Initiative in December of 2019. Now, Jacobson was working as a senior staff environment artist at Sony Santa Monica before this. The listing was spotted by, of course, the man who does not like to be called an Xbox insider, who has an inside eye to pretty much everything, Clobriel, and he found this in the LinkedIn page. That guy is my God, he's a detective, for crying out loud. Now, it's great to see a lot of outstanding talent joining The Initiative. We can't wait to find out what the team is working on. There's no doubt about it. But it seems like the Xbox console exclusive that they're working on is going to be the quadruple A epic proportion title that we've all been asking for, and I think we're going to get it. So I have to go to the Welsh gamer first, because obviously he is always beside himself with the talent. When you hear that, okay, first of all, let me rephrase the question. When you look at God of War, the environment is breathtaking. It's so breathtaking that I am probably been responsible myself taking at least 50 pictures and putting them up on Twitter at every angle possible, because quite frankly, I love the game. Now, some people will disagree and say the game's shit, and that's fine if that's what you think. I personally don't think so. I think that the environment, or the environments that you were in throughout the adventure with Kratos and his son, were some of the best that I've seen in this generation. And obviously, we know that the talent at Sony Santa Monica is not to be reckoned with. But with that said, Welsh, there has been at least 6 senior developers from that studio leave to come work at The Initiative. When you hear the environmental lead artist is working now on whatever they're working on, what does that say to you as an Xbox gamer?
Well, where do I begin? What can honestly, what can I actually say that I haven't actually said 100 other times when some new guy on the block has come over and jumped on the bandwagon that is The Initiative? What the hell are they working on in The Initiative? God damn it! Oh, if I say it any louder, I'm gonna pop a vest on, and I don't care. I want someone to answer this damn question. God damn it, bastards! But no, on a serious note, though, gentlemen, like literally, it is just remarkable. I mean, like every so often, every like however many weeks, months, we just hear of a new person, and not just anybody, not the janitor at my local bloody secondary school. You're talking big time, pack punching talent, big names in the bloody industry, from people at Rockstar to I can't even. Surely there's so many I can't think. But now we've got the guy, the 6 huge people from the makers of that. Like, let's just put it simply, Boom. Whether you love or hate that game, you can't disagree with the fact that from an outsider's point of view, it is visually stunning. I love the narrative with the Norse mythology. I fair dues. The new direction they went was bold and ballsy, and it definitely paid off. And think about all the awards they've gotten and the merits that game has acquired since its release. I'm happy to call out like media bias and shit like that, but this is certainly not the case when it comes to God of War. Like, a game doesn't receive those kinds of accolades on a whim. It's just not feasible in this day and age. And even if that was the case, you only have to look to social media, and I'd say that only 1 in 1,000 people pipe up and say, "Oh, that game was garbage," and big ups to that individual. So this game is no joke. Like, I haven't played it personally, but I can call a good game when I see it, and it is a very good looking game. It's certainly the most appealing game over on PlayStation for me. That's for damn sure. And I've said that before. But the point I'm making, the build-up I'm making, is the fact that like this game has obviously got a very talented team behind it. And I've said, and like I said to you, Boom, the start of my mini rant over here, what can I possibly say that I haven't said before? And I believe in a good saying called, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm going to repeat myself here now, Boom. The same thing I've said the last 20 times. This particular topic has come up when a respected individual in the development industry has joined the ranks over the initiative. And this case is no different. These guys, these individuals, the people who worked, a proper passion project, the blood, sweat, and tears that went into this new God of War game, and the rewards that they reaped from those efforts. And it's safe to say they would have had a job there for life. They would have had their legs up.
Yes, that's a great point. That's a really, really great point, dude.
Oh, honestly, man, it's like take football, sports. Like if you're a rookie tight end coming through the ranks, and it's like, right, time to go, and you're just absolutely breaking records with however many receiving yards, blocking. Oh, and you're just smashing it. You can confidently say that individual is securing a position on the roster for a few years now, all the years to come. Whereas if you play shit, it's like, nice one, we'll trade you for someone better. It is just that simple, Boom. And these guys, they didn't just make a good game. They made a game that is going to be remembered in generations to come. It wouldn't surprise me if they, for the PS5, did like a definitive edition just to relaunch that game at 4K 60 or whatever the PS5 is touting to do. Because though it's one of those things, it's like the Xbox with the Master Chief Collection and Halo Reach. When it's a good game, you want to bring it to the forefront and show off what that game could look like on modern systems. I guarantee you they'll do that. It is a phenomenal thing. And like I said, the people behind that game, they had a job for life. They proved themselves. They proved their worth. They were probably going to break bread and live the life of luxury, sipping on margaritas in the off season, and they had no worries. They had a job for life. I don't know if people can really let that sink in, but the gaming industry is not an easy place to get into. Some people would clamor for just a job at like a low budget indie studio to get their foot in the door, and these are guys that have successfully made probably more games than just God of War, but they successfully brought out this God of War game and absolutely smashed it out the park. And they still, with all that said, Boom, yes, people in the chat and people will go, well, money talks. No, it really doesn't. Like, Like money doesn't talk that much. Like I've said again, repeating myself, these guys are artists. Like gaming development is an art form. Like just no different to someone who paints canvases or does decal work on cars or spray paints in the streets. Like it's an art.
Yes, great
it's
point.
And they, as artists, Boom, have clearly been approached, shown a few designs, concepts. This is what we're going to be working on, or this is what we're heavily working on because it's been a while now. Do you want in on the action? We could use your talents. And like, they didn't have to, but they're literally like, man, like I'm at the top of my game right now, but there is no fucking chance I am missing out on an opportunity like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
That's a great point.
I mean, and it's remarkable. Like I said, to their merit, they've smashed out the park. They can clearly make a beautiful game. Again, I can't comment on the details of the game because I haven't played it, but based off of the reviews, based on the universal praise of the game from me, people like myself on the ground level, all the way up to industry leaders. Even Phil Spencer and co have come out with their own tweets saying God of War is amazing when they were playing it. And those guys don't fuck about. They call it as it is, and they're happy to praise a game even if it's not on their system. And then you get the odd bunch who don't like it, and each to their own. But it's obviously a remarkable game. They got Game of the Year that year. You got to tip the hat where it's due. And if they are if the guys behind that game are happy to walk away to work on whatever the initiative's working on, what the hell are they working on the initiative? Then all I can say is there must be something pretty remarkable over there to pull people away from a lifelong job working on God of War and whatever other project to work on this and whatever the initiative's working on.
I mean, listen, it's pretty epic when you think about the amount of talent that has gone over there. I mean, we're not talking slouches. We're talking leadership from every facet of gaming that's in that side of California has been coming over. And again, I've said this before, and I've been booed for it. I have people say, you don't know what you're talking about. And you know what? I'm going to say it live again on the air. Whatever they're working on, if you think that it's one project, you are small-minded. There is way, way too many chefs in this ginormous kitchen to be making just one cake. Now, I'm not saying that there's 17 games in active development by any stretch of the truth, but I'm going to tell you that I would imagine there's 2 to 3 projects that they are working on. Now, one may be, we're going to know about it because they're going to show it this year, what they're working on, right? We're going to get a chance to see what they're working on, at least one of them. But I still think that there's multiple projects. Now, I want to go to Zemi Games for a second on this. Obviously, Microsoft's quadruple A studio was laughed at by many people in the community. Quadruple A, ridiculous. They don't even know what they're doing. But the talent that keeps coming over is crazy. And the talent that they're stealing from in that part of Santa Monica, the team just keeps growing and growing and growing. And the talent that they're bringing over once again is really putting a stamp in what they intend to do with this studio. For you personally, seeing how many people from the God of War team that left, that was Game of the Year 2018 for many people at the Game Awards and everything. What are your thoughts on exactly what type of game we're going to be getting whenever it releases?
It's going to be a really good one. I mean, like, it kills me because it's like, like we can point at most of the developers under Xbox now, and we have a rough idea of what they're probably likely to be making, right? At least like the genre or, something, right? We have something, that we can actually point to. But with the initiative, it's nothing but like just a big black screen with a huge white question mark on it, right?
Right.
I mean, we have no idea. But like Welsh was saying, and I love what he was saying.
Zemi, I only this once. I'm going to allow you to say what the hell are they working on at the initiative. I won't sue you.
Oh, okay. Well, what the hell are they working on at the initiative? How about that?
Perfect.
But
Absolutely perfect.
Thanks. But what you were saying, Welsh, is absolutely fantastically said. I mean, you have all of these huge, people that have worked on major games, very successful. I'm sorry, I just accidentally muted myself. Very successful studios, and they're all wanting to go to the initiative. Maybe their benefits are great. Maybe they have a huge hot tub in the middle of the offices. I don't know, but I'm guessing that what they're working on is absolutely mind blowing. And I don't like to use the quadruple thing, like quadruple A game, like that's just for me that's just like a marketing ploy, like summer blockbuster. But whatever they're working on has to be incredible. Plus, we were talking about a story, a few shows ago. I think it was actually on Breakfast with Boom, I think, where they're collaborating. They're talking with the coalition as well, which is just going to amplify that game even more. So, I mean, it's going to be fantastic. I've already made my little conspiracy. For me personally, I think what they're working on is like a very, very strong narrative driven game with graphics that will blow your socks off. I mean, pretty much almost like a Last of Us clone. I mean, they're not identical, but something along those lines, because something like that is kind of missing from the Xbox portfolio. Hellblade is kind of giving that, but I think Xbox needs more. So if I was going to just throw out my little 2 cents and give out my guess, my little conspiracy theory, I think that's what I would say that I think that they're working on. Or if nothing else, I hope that's what they're working on, because I absolutely loved Quantum Break. I absolutely loved Rise, Son of Rome. I love those single player,
story-driven adult themed games.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I still think that is something that Xbox is super, super dry on, and they need that desperately. And so that's why I really hope that's what the initiative is working on. But whatever they're working on, it's definitely going to be of quality, and it's definitely from every piece of news that we've gotten, and it hasn't been a whole lot, but for every piece of news that we've gotten, it seems like it's going to be a fantastic game.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be epic. I think it's going to be something that we've all been asking for, and I think there's multiple projects now. Graphic Art, I know you have to get out of here, so I'm going to get your last opinion before you have to leave. Take care of some family obligations. Now, as a creator who has his own business, who's extremely talented, I know there's a lot of people in the chat who are like, yeah, money talks, boom. So if they're offering extra zeros, they're leaving. But I have to agree with Welsh Gamer. They're in prominent leadership positions, making bank for Sony at these studios, and it would as a creator, someone that creates original content like yourself. Is it all about the money, or is it what they're working on that's exciting these creators at their core to want to be a part of?
If it was all about the money, I probably wouldn't be in this type of job, because I know I don't make a ton of money. It wasn't probably the best life decision. I enjoy what I do. That's the main reason why I do it. I always had this philosophy that, if it's an old philosophy. If you enjoy what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Well, I feel like these creators feel the same way. And as long as they're given the freedom, and maybe that's one thing that Xbox Game Studios or the initiative are offering these people, is some freedom. That's the biggest gift you can give to a creator, is allow them to be creative, not to be the one standing over their shoulder and saying, no, that's not right, do it this way. And we all have to be honest that when it came to Sony's first party games, they all had a very similar look and feel.
Yes.
And maybe that kind of got to people after a little while, and maybe that's the reason why they're leaving. That said, there are some good headhunters out there, and I'm sure that all these guys either were headhunted or they heard about what was going on with the initiative, and they wanted to be a
all
part.
these developers are friends, right? They all
Yeah.
talk.
Exactly, and they wanted to be part of that. A lot of people don't realize that when you go for a job interview, and I'm not saying these guys had to go for traditional job interviews, but when you go for a job interview, you're not only being interviewed, you're interviewing them as well. And if they saw what the initiative was doing for the industry and doing for its talent, then it it stood high above of what other companies were offering. It's a no-brainer. Why wouldn't they go there?
No, that's a great point. I mean, listen, all I can say is that there's a lot of factors that we don't know about. Obviously the payday is what everyone immediately jumps to, but as a content creator myself, now, I mean, listen, I'm a small fry, and that's fine. I mean, you have to start at the bottom, right? We don't start at the top floor. That's just the way life works. Even though some people would love to start with the corner parking spot, the corner office, and the six-figure salary. Well, guess what, folks? That's not life. You have to earn what you get, what you got. And these developers, like a lot of people on the panel alluded to, may have seen things that are doing, obviously Microsoft is a very loose place to work. It's a lot of fun from what I heard, which is why I'm striving to work there. I mean, I'm hoping that I get the call one day to be some sort of a community manager for the company, because I would freaking love that. And I would pick up my family and move to Seattle in a freaking heartbeat. So if anyone from Microsoft is listening and you're a headhunter, well, come and cut my head off, because I'll work for you, no problem. But Jay, I want to thank you for being here, dude. This was a real treat to have you a part of the show. Actually, two Xbox shows in 1 week, which is great. I have to thank you again for not only producing the new logo for the show, but also that outstanding outro that's now going to be the outro and the intro for the show. Do me a favor before you get out of here. Tell everyone where they can follow you, sub your channel, and also head over to gamerpicks.com.
Okay. Again, thank you very much for having me, Boom. It was, the honor's mine. When you throw out the signal, the boom signal, of course I'm gonna answer whenever I can. So you can hit me up on Twitter at graphic_god. I'm also on YouTube, Mixer, and Twitch. You can find me at Graphic God. Some have underscores, some do not. I stream on all three simultaneously. I do everything from doing retro gaming with the Retro Renegades on Tuesday nights. I also do Graphic God games. I do Graphic God draws, and I even do tutorials. So if you want to learn some things, go hit me up over there. If you're looking for some graphics, you can either hit me up on Twitter or go to xboxgamerpicks.com. Don't let the name deceive you. And I don't only work for Xbox, guys, but it was the name that I could choose, and I could find the URL. It was available, so that's what I used. But go there, fill out the form, tell me what you want. I'll either be a gamer pick, I can do intros, I can do overlays. Just look at what's coming in the near future for Wilmia Hood and Fork Boy Gaming.
I can't wait.
It'll blow your mind.
I cannot wait.
So again, thank you very much for having me, guys, and we will see you online. Everyone have a great gaming life.
Yes, absolutely. Well, listen, dude, thank you so much for being here, Jay. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be safe. And once again, dude, the work that you do is phenomenal. And like I said, you'll see the outro when we close out today's show. You see the artwork in the background. He is legit, and I highly endorse his work. But I want to move on to the next topic. But before I do, I have to get caught up with the super chats. Too many of them came in, and I really mean I am blown away by the generosity. JD Gamer drops his first $5 super chat. He says, "Happy New Year, folks. Yes, I would love an old rare game remade or sequels. Perfect Dark," and he drops a really good one. Cameo was incredible. I would love, dude, at this point, JD, I would just take an HD remaster of that so I can get the 1,000-point achievements. He says, Conquer, oh yeah, and what about 007? Well, listen, if they could somehow make a GoldenEye for the get the license, that would be something else. And then the next one is from JD Gamer. He drops an additional $5 super chat. He says, "Just because I love Welsh Gamer, let me get a what the hell are they working on?" And I think you've said that several times, Welsh, so thank you for that. And JD, thank you. You got cold yogurt with a question mark with the outstanding $5 super chat. He says, 2020, there's a gaming system for everyone. Well said. Switch for on the go, Sony for the single player, and Xbox for Game Pass, Oculus and Valve for VR. 2020 is here. Yeah, and listen, that's a great point, dude. I mean, listen. If you want to bang your chest and wave your flag for your one console, I'm not going to hate on you for doing it. Do it respectfully. Don't call names. Don't poke fun. Enjoy your console. But my God, if you're a multi-plat gamer like me, there is a lot to play. And let's see, I believe that is it. I'm all caught up to date. So let me move on to, of course, the next topic. And I think it's a good one. And obviously, you're gonna. Oh well, first of all, as I'm bringing up the graphics for the next topic, Kay Asante drops an outstanding $10 super chat. Says, remember the good, as good as God of War is, the director has already spoken publicly about how Sony pushed them to be better. That's a great point. I saw that. That was pretty interesting. They were making status quo, and Sony said no. So maybe Microsoft ordered. Yeah, I mean, listen, you could say that. You can maybe Microsoft is saying, maybe they're not as pushy as Sony, but I think that coming over to the initiative, it's a quadruple A studio. I think maybe the way Microsoft is doing it is, what dreams do you have to make a game? And they're all collaborating. So maybe they need to be pushed. I don't know. I'll put it to this way. If the first game is shit, then we have problems. I don't think that, in fact, is going to be the case. But I want to move on to the next topic. Now, first of all, I have to announce that we have officially, on the Double Barrel Gaming channel, broken records. My God, once again, we were at the highest level, according to my stats, 665 people watching live. That is a new record for Double Barrel Gaming. My freaking goodness, I cannot thank all of you for this. This is RDX numbers. Now, I understand he's getting 1,600, and because, listen, Dealer and those guys, first of all, everyone on that panel are the classiest of class acts, and I love listening to all of them. They all bring something really special to the table. But, before he was getting 15, 16, 1,700, people watching, he was getting like, 5, 6, 700. And I'm floating around there. I'm honored. I just want you to know from the bottom of my heart, I never, ever in my entire existence thought that I could achieve such numbers, and I have to thank everybody once again. And JD Gamer drops an additional $5 super chat. He says, have you read Jez's article on Windows Central about if Microsoft is serious about gaming? You know what? If it's recent, I did not. I will definitely check that out. But look, let's get to the task at hand. Microsoft is planning on either creating or buying a new Japanese studio to appeal to that region, according to a new tweet from, again, Xbox Insider Clobriel. And I'm going to read verbatim the 3 quotes from Phil Spencer. But what's very interesting in this photo, and what I'm going to bring up for the listeners to see, obviously, is this picture. The timeline of exactly when Phil Spencer spoke about the region of the world and how important it is to the success of the new Xbox Series X and S in the next generation. So here we go. This is from Phil. All these quotes are from Phil Spencer. Now, the first one is from November 2019. He says, I think we have a hole in Asia. I would love to have more of an influence in our own first-party team from an Asian creators. There's nothing that's imminent. So it's not a pre-announcement or something, but I think we could have a stronger first-party creation capability there. Then later on in November, he says, making sure there are storytellers from many parts of the world as part of our first party is important. It's Asia where we could have have more first party. I love that we've invested more in Europe, in the UK, and even more parts of America. We could make more studios. And this was the last quote, and this was December, towards the end of 2019. And this is what Phil had to say. Sure, we could do publishing relationships there. In fact, I would suspect we will do some of those. But I also think having a first-party studio voice at the table that is from Asia, whether it's Japan or another market, would be good. A good ad for us. Now, this is where I bring in the panel. This is where I bring in the chat. Look, let me just say this. The Japanese market has been a fail market for Microsoft since the OG Xbox game. Sure, they sold consoles, but the mere fact that it's a market that no longer uses traditional consoles. Like the PS4, you think, oh, what, PS4, Japanese company, it doesn't sell as well as you think. The main seller in that region of the world is the Nintendo Switch. Why? Because the Asian market is very heavily focused on the mobile market, which is why Microsoft needs to get a foothold in there and why they're in China with the beta for Project xCloud. Because if they could get people to play Xbox games on the go the way we think they're going to be able to do, they could open up millions of customers using Xbox Game Pass, more subscribers, and if they do the Ultimate, which is supposedly going to include, of course, Project xCloud, it would be a win-win for Microsoft because it's $15+ per person. They don't have to have a console, from what we understand. They're going to be able to game on whatever they have. So if they're playing on tablet, great. If they're playing on their phones, great. If they're using a controller attached to their phone, great. Welsh gamer, when you hear the moves that Microsoft is making or attempting to make for world domination, and more importantly, having a foothold in every region, what does that tell you about the plans for Microsoft and how serious they are for next generation?
Well, it's like we were discussing earlier about coming in at every angle and planting that seed and branching out and getting the mind share and reaching the eyes, ears, and mouth of just about every living soul on the planet. And I saw a comment by QW Vampire, and he said that Japan is big with handhelds and mobile.
Yes.
And it's so true. It's massive. And the thing is, like we were saying earlier about Project xCloud and the ability for kids and adults and people all across the world with their tablets and their phones and what have you to be able to just pick up and play wherever you go. Whereas that is a popular option for a lot of people all over the world, it is exceptionally massive in Asia. And I just think the fact that Phil, once again, is going out of his way to shake hands and build bridges over there in Japan, where up until the last few years, I suppose you could say the relationship hasn't been great, not between them and Xbox specifically, but they just seem to be very loyal to their own brands, which is fair enough.
Right.
But times are changing for sure, and I just think this is a great move from Phil because you only have to. This is the thing, right? It's like a domino effect. You only have to build one successful bridge, and before you know it, there's a bridge being made every few miles across the bloody border to help people get over. I know maybe that's a shit analogy, but my point is, once this bridge is established and there's good communication, good development, maybe even a first-party acquisition in the mix, that just opens things up for a lot of other Japanese developers, and I'm talking third party as well. We've already said, there's more and more games dropping on Xbox than ever before from the Japanese studios, and that's thanks to Phil. A lot of these quote-unquote exclusives that the PlayStation fanboys used to throw down our throat are in fact now have already come to Xbox,
over, yeah,
or are still on their way. Neo being one of them, Nier Automata, just to name a couple. This is just the next step. They've already shook a lot of hands, and the fact that I like what he said here. He said, "Sure, we could do publishing relationships there, but in fact, I would suspect we will do some of those. But I also think having a first-party studio voice at the table that is from Asia, that for me is an incredible way to look at it because." I've already spoke highly about the first party network over at Xbox and the camaraderie, the fact that every single project you always hear with the small print, the little bit, the Coalition is helping with Rare, 343 is helping with Ninja Theory, Ninja Theory is helping with Undead Labs, Playground Games is helping with so and so. They're all helping one another. So, with that said, what a great insight into the Japanese market. Like, to have, if they could acquire a Japanese studio and then they actually have a Japanese studio on the round table, when you're putting your minds together, coming up with the next first party Xbox game studio project, it's nice to have perspective from all angles. Like, it's not like, I bet you, I wouldn't be surprised if the heads of all of these companies do have a sit down maybe once a year or a few times a year, just to put heads together and discuss what future products are in the work, and why not have an extra mind at the table, like the Justice League, where are we gonna go next? It's just like Batman's like, I think we should go that way, and then Superman's like, no, Batman, I think we should go that way, and then Wonder Woman's like, I think you should both shut up. And literally,
I love it. That's great.
I just think it is perspective. More like in a lot of cases, too many cooks spoil the broth. But I think when it comes to like a round table, a pool of talent, it can't hurt to get more bodies on, in the ranks. And why the hell not? Especially from Asia, Japan. There's some incredible developers over there. Granted, I don't really like Japanese games, but nevertheless, it's an art form. People love them. And I think Phil is making some great moves doing this. And I think it's just the beginning. Like, before you know it, this will open up doors to other studios that thought they might not have had a place on the Xbox platform, because that was a long-standing narrative that we've never seen Japanese games on the Xbox, and that is slowly but surely changing. And it's just an incredible sight to behold. And like I said, the fact that it came from Phil's mouth, we would like, basically in a nutshell, I've lost my place, but he basically said, we'd love to have an Asian developer at our round table. Like, I just think that's phenomenal. Sharing ideas, helping each other out, bringing different culture to the Xbox brand.
Great point.
Xbox, it's not just great for the platform, but it's great for the community and the consumer, because no matter who you are or where you are in the world, what tastes you like, what genres you like, what type of game you like, Xbox will have you covered on all fronts.
No, that's a great point. Real quick, before we move on to Zemi and get his opinion on it, I have to thank a couple of people. First of all, thanks to Zemi's keen eye, Smuzz246 with the outstanding $5 super chat. He says, Happy New Year, Boomin' Panel. Thank you for that. 2020 and Xbox Series X is going to be epic. Already starting my fun jar for the new console. Listen, folks, I said this earlier, and I'm going to say it again. Another public announcement. Save those gift cards. I got a significant, my family is very generous, and I don't really ask for a lot of expensive stuff, even though my wife will disagree, because she bought me quite a few really nice things. But I was like, gift cards, and I have 2 envelopes, and they've been split evenly, and one says Xbox Series X and the other says PS5. This is going to be an expensive year, so try and save those ducats, because, my God, there are too many good games and too many consoles coming out. Gotham Guy, who I told the story about him, someone I met in person, someone that extended a very generous hand by offering me his +1 to, of course, Xbox Fan Fest, something that I've always dreamed of doing. And it was an old man's dream come true. The bucket list has been checked. He drops a $5 super chat. He says, I'm getting over the flu, but listening to the show and hearing your record-breaking live chat numbers is fantastic. Boom. Well, listen, dude, I am glad that you're feeling better, and I'm glad that you had a chance to listen. And JD Gamer shows his generosity once again with the $2 super chat. He says, MS should do all 3, create, buy, and publish Japanese. Now, it's funny you should say that, JD, because that's actually going to be my next question to Zemi Games. Now, there has been reports. Nothing has been confirmed, but I don't necessarily think that Microsoft is going to buy a Japanese studio initially. I think they're going to have several. This is my theory. But I think what they're doing is building an initiative type developer that's pooling talent from the best of the best in Japan and making an original studio. What do you think about that, Zemi? Do you think that might be the better way to go, or should they just go out and buy someone like Platinum Games?
I think either way is a good way to go, but getting the developers and actually creating their own studio would definitely be, beneficial. I mean, everybody that's on that studio, you're handpicking the personal talent that could possibly lead to better games. But at the same time, having a Japanese, studio or just an Asian studio in general, and actually purchasing that studio, that gives name recognition that, that otherwise might be hard for, certain individuals to maybe, buy into, if that makes any sense.
No, it does make sense. Absolutely.
But as far as the whole, Japanese, or Asian, market idea goes, I mean, it makes a whole lot of sense. And I'm glad that they haven't already bought one. I'm glad that they're taking the time because, it's definitely something new. It's a region that they haven't really been very active in. And the more time that they take, the better their choices are going to be, and I would rather them buy an absolutely fantastic Asian studio rather than, jump the gun too soon and regret that purchase later. Right.
Right.
But I think it's very important for Xbox to get, at least one, Asian studio, because it serves two purposes. The first purpose is a lot of Americans, a lot of Europeans, a lot of us want to play Japanese games. For me personally, I don't. I mean, I like Dragon Ball Z and some of the Final Fantasy games, but I'm not really a huge Japanese.
So the JRPG may not necessarily appeal to you.
Exactly, but because it doesn't appeal to me, it doesn't mean that it doesn't appeal to millions of other people. And so there's a ton of people in the North American region, in the European regions, that would absolutely die for these Japanese games. But
right.
So that's the first purpose that would serve. The second purpose is that we know that Xbox is trying to grow in the Japanese market. That's why they've been getting these games over, to their platform, Yakuza, Final Fantasy, all these, titles. But then also the xCloud, that's not a coincidence. Mobile gaming is huge in Asia, and the xCloud, serves that purpose. But it's also important for Xbox to have titles that are being created in that region or by people from that region with that, Japanese or Korean style to it, because that's what's going to draw these people in. A big reason why PlayStation is so huge in Japan is because they have those Japanese style games that their audience wants to play over there, that the Japanese gamers, the Korean gamers, the Chinese gamers want to play. And so with Xbox just going over there with with xCloud, I'm sure a lot of those gamers over there would love to play Halo, would love to play Gears of War, but they're also still going to want to play the games that they grew up on. And that's why it's important for Xbox to get at least one of these studios to start making first party games that are only available on their platform, because you got to look at it like this. If they make one really good banger, something maybe comparable to Final Fantasy or Persona or something, if they make one really absolutely mouth-watering, Japanese and, inspired game, there are going to be a lot of people in that region that are going to use their mobile devices to play that game on Xbox's service. And while they're playing that game, they may be able to discover other games that they never even knew existed, on the platform as well. And so I think it's super important that, Xbox gets a Japanese studio or creates one with talent that they bring over. Because I think that they would be a lot stronger like that. Without it, xCloud still serves a purpose over there. It still is going to be, successful, but I think it would be all that much more successful if they were offering, a native dish to them, if you will.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Antonio Alicia says Lost Odyssey 2, and I agree. That was amazing. Blue Dragon, amazing JRPG that a lot of people missed out on during the 360. Real quick, Michael Churchello drops an additional $5 super chat. He says, great show, great topics and crew. Well, thank you so much for that, Michael. Really super appreciate that. Now, here's the thing. We've eaten through, I think, about maybe 6 topics. I do have one more, but I have to make sure that my panel is able to hang around for another 10 or 15. How does that sound to you guys?
I'll respond with a quick question.
Sure, by all means, go ahead.
Does Xbox own the scale-bound IP?
Yes, they do.
Well, if that is the case, then how amazing would it be if a two-finger salute to platinum bloody pizza fucking Uber orderers, bloody if Xbox did pool in talent in their own Japan
and then had them do it
and them do the scale, because people are still to this day the only other hashtag I see other than bring Fable back is bring Scalebound back. It plagues my timeline. It has done since 2013. And I don't blame them, because I was looking forward to that game too. But Platinum Games were a lazy bunch of asswipes who rather use the bloody funding to purchase Ubers and eat pizza than make a fucking game and do their bastard jobs. So how cool would that be? Just a thought thrown out there. But answering your question, Boom, yeah, I got at least another 5 to 10 minutes in me for sure.
Okay, well let's quickly move on to the next topic, and let me change the banner, and see where the H I have this. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna go with it. I'm gonna erase the banner that's there now, because obviously this came in at a late. This actually was like the clock before midnight kind of a topic. I wrote it up real quick. I heard Dealer talking about it. I was like, oh, shit, I forgot to write that down because I had sent myself the article. So let's get right into it. Xbox is reportedly in talks to acquire a major Polish developer. Again, another region of the world where Microsoft does not have a foothold in. And this rumor has been recently catching fire. Now, there's a ton of huge developers in Poland outside of the most obvious CD Projekt Red. Now, in a new explosive article pulled from comicbook.com, there has been confirmation that Microsoft was indeed in Poland window shopping for a new first-party developer to add to Microsoft Game Studios. Now, Xbox is reportedly and has been seen in Poland looking for a new developer to add to its growing XGS family. The report, though, comes way of an unusual source. Now, I'm going to ruin this poor man's name, so I'm not going to say it fully. Okay, I know that it's Boris N with the like in Nancy, the award-winning director in Poland, who revealed during a recent podcast that Microsoft was recently in Poland looking into adding a new team to its ranks. Unfortunately, the director cannot divulge where he got the details from, but is positive Microsoft did in fact talk to at least one developer, though possibly more. However, it's unclear if any agreements were reached. Now, again, CD Projekt Red, folks, okay, is the white whale of a developer, and it's highly, highly unlikely that that would be the one. But what was brought to my attention listening to RDX last night is that they own I think it's GWG, which I think is where you get games, right? It was a GOG, good old games. They own that, right? Could you imagine if Microsoft did in fact purchase them for a check that has zeros that are so far in length that you'd have to get a second check to add it? And they would, of course, acquire the good old games thing, which is like Steam. And a lot of people use that service. So it makes sense. But to think a little bit smaller, the two ones that come to mind that we know for a fact are there are People Can Fly. Now, we know that they are the makers of the Painkiller franchise. They did Bulletstorm and, of course, Gears of War Judgment, which a lot of people didn't like. I happen to actually really enjoy that game. And Techland, who did Dying Light and is working on Dying Light 2. Personally, a CD Projekt Red would be the easy answer, but I would like to see them get a smaller developer, maybe like People Can Fly, simply because they could maybe set them off in a direction to utilize this smaller team that's very talented, by the way, for an older, defunct IP. I'll go to Welsh just in case you have to get out of here quickly. What are your thoughts on them shopping in Poland after we just did a story that they're looking to acquire a studio in Japan?
Again, man, just branching out, different culture, different perspectives, different pools of talent. I mean, like from Poland alone, like we just sung Japan's praises, but you've got games like Metro, which is in the Ukraine. It's a Ukrainian developer, 4A, but they're literally on the border of Poland. If I'm not mistaken.
Right.
My geography's not fantastic, but I'm pretty sure that's right. But yeah, and then you've got like Techland, the guys behind Dying Light. As you just mentioned, you've got People Can Fly behind Gears of War Judgment and Bulletstorm and stuff. And I was just thinking as well, like People Can Fly. That is an interesting take because like Gears of War Judgment, whether it was as a polarizing game as it was, the fact that they have already worked closely with Xbox could go in their favor. The same way Obsidian, with what did Obsidian do? I can't fucking remember. My bloody brain. I'm farting out my ears, man. But literally, it's getting late over here. But no, literally, I don't know. It's pretty interesting. Like I actually wanted to throw out there that it could be potentially 4A, even though they're not technically Poland. It's close to, if not like on the neck of Poland. But bottom line, whoever they do acquire, the fact that they're actually going out there and having a good look. I mean, like if they did acquire, I know it's very unlikely. I'll be the first. Well, I'll probably be the second to say it. 'Cause you've already said it, Boom. But I really don't see a version of this where they come out saying, "Oh, we've acquired CD Projekt Red." I would love that. I would absolutely love that. I would love it, right, if Phil just dropped the mic and said, "We've got CD Projekt Red. They're going to be bringing The Witcher back, and we're going to see Geralt's origin story or something." Oh man, I need to change my pants 3 times. But let's get real. It's probably never ever going to happen. But I think out of everything we've said so far, I'm leaning towards Techland. I could see that happening. But more so than that, People Can Fly. The fact that Gears of War Judgment was an Xbox game, they have worked with Xbox closely. I think there's a lot of
ties there for sure.
Yeah. They got a working relationship. I could see that happening. But then who knows, man? I mean, I stupidly I didn't think to pull up a list of Polish developers to get a real look at like how many are out there. I'm sure there are several, but in great Xbox fashion, I reckon, like they did with Undead Labs, like they did with MDHR, like they did with it's on the tip of my tongue. God damn it.
Compulsion Games, Ninja Theory.
Yes. Picking up the smaller teams, the as you put it, Boom, the train that could, like the people who have promise, they can see a bright future their way. They just need a little ushering. They need a little bit more money, maybe some more manpower. So I reckon People Can Fly. Maybe there's a smaller one out there that I'm not aware of, but I reckon it'll be more to do with that. I reckon that is what Xbox will be doing, and big ups to them. I mean, it's the way to go about it, and I do see that being a big contention in this particular topic. I think going out to Poland, like I could see them picking up a smaller studio and bringing them up the ranks a bit.
Well, listen, I mean, what you're saying makes a lot of sense. And obviously, I just want to throw this out there because I didn't get a chance to do it before, and I have to give him credit. The 3 images that I just brought up of the Xbox Series X boxes, that I pulled from Clobriel's Twitter account, and these are mock-ups that he made. Now, like I said, I was saying earlier with Jay here, I think that he's a graphical artist of some sorts because these are absolutely amazing. I actually hope that it does look like this. This particular screenshot, I hope that the box looks like that because it's very appealing to the eye. I think everyone would really enjoy that. Zemi, I want to get your opinion. But before I do, I have to thank Paul Spencer, who dropped numerous super chats in there. And he says this, and this is really heartwarming. Boom, because of the XSX reveal, I found your show. From that, I discovered Dealer and Cult. I already subbed to Randall Thor. Listen, this is what we do. And I honestly, man, I am so glad that you're here. You're enjoying it. You found a group of Xbox content creators that you enjoy listening to. That, yes, when Microsoft does something wrong, we are not afraid to call them out, and we will do that. But you know the hate train that some folks that I'm not going to, they're going to remain nameless, use to power their numbers is played out already. You know what I'm saying? People want to be happy and excited, and there's a lot to be excited. But Zemi, closing out this record-breaking day, I want to get your opinion on this. Obviously, we just talked about Japan. Now we're talking about Poland, and it seems like Microsoft's reach is getting wider by the week. What are your thoughts on them picking up a Polish developer? Obviously, again, CD Projekt Red would be the white whale. I don't think it's going to happen. But either Techland or People Can Fly are both solid developers and bring some serious talent. Would they make a great addition to the XGS?
I mean, for sure, absolutely. I mean, Techland, because Dying Light, and I've been banging on the drum of variety this entire show. I feel like, but what horror first party games do they have in their lineup, right? So and if I'm not mistaken, Dying Light, that's the game where you jump from rooftop to rooftop with the zombies playing or chasing you. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that's what that game is. Am I right?
Yes, you are correct.
Yes. I never played it, as you could imagine. But yeah, I mean, so that would be excellent for their lineup of games, having that developer that does go out and make those horror games. I mean, I would never play them, but once again, variety is key. People Can Fly, that makes a whole lot of sense. They already have a working relationship with them, or a past relationship with them. And I think both of those are definitely options. But I think another one, and for me, I think this is actually maybe possibly a little bit more likely, is 11-bit Studios. And the reason being is because a lot of their games are already on Xbox Game Pass. And whenever Children of Morta first was about to release, for me personally, it seemed like they were taking a lot more of an interest in that game than they usually do with smaller indie games.
And I reviewed that game from that studio as well. I think the studio is very talented.
Yes, they're a very talented studio. They're a very small studio. I mean, obviously, I don't think that they make a tremendous amount of money. So another reason is it would be a cheap studio for them to acquire, build up, and allow them to, continue doing what they're currently doing. Because once again, the Xbox first party lineup doesn't have any games like what they make. But even more than that, they're a tremendously talented studio that is absolutely fantastic at storytelling, and I think that it would fall in line with them very, very well. But I mean, ultimately, all three of those are definitely really good picks, and I could see Xbox, acquiring either one of those. But for me, I think 11-bit Studio is what I think is more likely. As far as I almost said Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red goes, I think that that's a wish that's just not going to come true.
We don't have a genie that strong. That's all I'm going to say about it.
No. Well, I'm sure Microsoft could probably afford them. I don't think Microsoft wants to afford them. And to be honest with you, I don't think CD Projekt Red wants to be purchased. I mean, they're doing their own thing. They're killing it. They're one of the best developers out there, one of the most consumer-friendly developers out there. They're
beloved by the community
games.
For sure.
Yeah, and their games sell like hotcakes, right?
Yeah.
So they would really have no reason. Microsoft.
Did you hear what happened with CD Projekt Red recently?
No.
After the success of Netflix's The Witcher, they saw a massive spike in replay in the player count of The Witcher 3, people replaying it.
I believe it.
And the sales of I can't remember his name, and Andrei Shalakovov, whatever his bloody name is, his books, the author, the original author.
Yeah.
And because of that, the author actually approached CD Projekt Red, and now CD Projekt Red, which they didn't have before, have 100% rights to the Witcher video games and graphic novels.
Oh, wow.
So it's looking very promising that CD Projekt Red are going to come back with a Witcher game, maybe The Witcher 4, or they're going to do a prequel like about Vesemir or Geralt's origin, or who knows. But like, you know, I thought we saw the last of the Witcher games, but it's looking good for CD Projekt Red. But more to your point, Zemi, with those kinds of like merits behind them, I too, like you, cannot see them selling up to another company.
No, but now actually, just because you mentioned that, I do want to say, like, after I watched The Witcher on Netflix, I immediately went and downloaded the very first Witcher game on my computer, and I've been playing through it. And I also went online to look up chronologically the order that you should read the books. So
Nice.
I'm in that same I'm in that same exact boat. I absolutely love The Witcher. But you know, and on another side though too. You know, I really kind of wouldn't want Xbox to acquire CD Projekt Red, and you know, I think it would benefit Xbox tremendously. But on the same side, I want people on that, you know, buy PlayStations to be able to play, you know, The Witcher 4 if it ever comes out, you know, Cyberpunk 2077 2, or whatever it'd be called, right? So from that same point, I really kind of hope that they wouldn't try to purchase that, and they would rather try to purchase one of these smaller developers that are more affordable, that are very talented, and that they could groom and you know, give them the resources to succeed, you know, whereas it might have taken them years, if not decades, to do it on their own.
Well, I mean, listen, regardless, we know that they're looking to pick up additional studios. If you remember, I wasn't sure if you were part of the show at this point. Clobriel had put out a tweet. I think it was towards the summer, where we thought that we were going to get more developers. There was an internal slogan of 20 in 2020. Right, that the hashtag 20 in 2020. I think Clobriel had put that out there. And there's a good chance that they could have 20 studios by the end of 2020. I don't think CD Projekt Red is going to be one of them, but I definitely think one of these smaller developers, like I said, take your pick. 4A games, even though they're in another part of the world, would be a great pickup. They did, obviously, the Metro Exodus and all of the Metro games. They're strong, very strong team. Techland, ridiculous talent there. People Can Fly. Forget about it. It's crazy. But listen, this has been an epic show. We are 2 hours and 15 minutes in, and I want to get everybody out of here. First of all, there's still nearly 600 people here, and I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, folks, you don't understand the record-breaking numbers. Is numbing to me as a content creator. I have never thought that this was I was personally capable of putting out a show that people really enjoyed. I have two amazing panel members that are really the bookends of the show I love working with, which is, of course, the Welsh Gamer and Zemi. Before I get to your outros, I have to thank Kay Asante once again with the outstanding $5 super chat. And they say CD Projekt Red is the Rockstar Games of the Eastern Europe. Yeah, and I definitely agree there. And from listening to the CEO talk, there's no way in hell that he would sell. They are fiercely independent. That's a great point, and I would agree. I think it's going to be a small studio. But, Welsh, listen, you know, first of all, thanks for being here. We missed you on Tuesday. Thank God you were here today for another round of record-breaking numbers. And, of course, you have some good information you want to put back out there for everyone. You obviously are returning to the YouTube content creation scene. I think it's something that you needed to do. I'm happy to know that that's happening. So tell everyone where they can follow you on Twitter, but more importantly, check out your incredible YouTube channel.
No, I appreciate that, man. Man, we've hit some milestones today. First, before I get into my outro, I just want to give a huge, massive shout out to AP Cool J in the chat. I just saw him pop up. He said, "Awesome show, guys." But I just want to give him a huge shout out because this guy, right, he approached me out of the blue on Xbox, messaged me saying like, that he loves our work and he respects what we do and stuff. And then this guy, without any knowledge of, I had no idea it was gonna. He bought me Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh wow, that's nice, dude. That is very, very, very generous of him.
So I just want to give this guy a huge shout out because he doesn't even know me personally. He only knows me from what we do, and he thought he was generous enough to basically give me a game that I didn't already own, and he did not have to do that. So I just want to say from the bottom of my heart publicly that is an amazing gesture, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. But as for my outro, I want to start by saying, please go over to my YouTube channel if you would like to, obviously. The Welsh Gamer, 3 words. Hit that subscribe button and the bell icon because I will, in fact, be coming back in full force to do videos at least once a week, probably starting next week now. But I just want to say I can't do it without the help of you guys because I love what we're doing here, the audience that we're growing. And as we've already discussed, the numbers are just ridiculous now. It's unbelievable. So please, any of you, I honestly am on my hands and knees begging for your input. Go over to Twitter at the Welsh Gamer 93 and DM me any topic you wish me to discuss. And when I do that video discussing the topic you've recommended for me, at the beginning I will shout you out personally and say so and so recommended this topic. I think it's a great way to get my channel back up and running. Community first, get your guys' input and your guys' opinion, and so you guys are personally requesting what you'd like the Welsh Gamer to rant about. I just think it's a perfect win-win situation for us all. So I would love it if you guys did that at the Welsh Gamer 93 for Twitter and just the Welsh Gamer, 3 words for YouTube. Now, as I do every week, I just want to end by saying mental health is a powerful thing. Everyone suffers with it. If not everyone, a lot of people do. Please do not suffer in silence. Like, there's a lot of people out there, they have this conception that when they feel like they're alone, they feel like there's no one there for them to talk to, and it couldn't be further from the truth. I just want you to know that I've been there. I suffer with anxiety and depression. I'm on medication for it. I hold no apologies for that. I'm proud to say that I went and got some help, and I'm better for it. And the bottom line is just accepting you are you and how you are made and how you are wired, and that there are people out there to talk to, starting with me, the Welsh Gamer. When I'm not ranting, I'm there to help my fellow man and woman. So please, same again, go over to at the Welsh Gamer 93 and DM me if you would like to talk. It could be completely anonymous. We can do it through DMs. We can party up on Xbox. We can Skype. If ever you want someone to talk to, believe me, I'm your guy. Anytime whatsoever. With that said, thank you guys. That's the Welsh Gamer. I've loved today's show. Zemi, boom, awesome to be with you guys. Sorry I didn't make it Tuesday, but hopefully I made up for it today.
Oh, you absolutely did. We heard bastard a couple of times. We got a rant. We got what the hell is going on at the initiative a couple of times for people like that. So that was it was you came back in a big way. So thank you for being here, dude. I really appreciate it. And,
not a problem.
And no slouch to this particular podcast, something that he wanted to do. I was so glad he has to be a part of it. Zemi Games. First of all, dude, love your input. Love what you bring to this show. Obviously, you're going to be back on with me tomorrow. I do definitely appreciate that because the pickings were slim. And, obviously, people are still away. And I didn't want to bother you again because that's the third time you're podcasting with me. But I love working with you. Obviously, you're a gamer and you game on multiple platforms and you actually just enjoy talking about them and you bring a lot to this show. Please tell everyone where they can follow you, but more importantly, subscribe to your outstanding YouTube channel.
Well, first off, thank you so much for actually just letting me on this, podcast. I obviously asked you many months ago to
and it was an automatic, sure, absolutely. Let's do this.
Absolutely. And you and Welsh both welcome me on this show with open arms, and I super appreciate that. And it's been fantastic being on this show, talking about Xbox. I absolutely love it. So thank you so much for that. And like you said, yes, I will be on tomorrow's show, Breakfast with Boom, at 10 a.m., right? Yeah. Yes, I think so.
Yes.
You guys can also check me out on YouTube. My name on there is Zimmy Games. I do a bunch of gaming content, Xbox tutorials, gaming news, game reviews, a few Let's Plays. I'm actually thinking about stepping up and doing a little bit more Let's Plays on my channel here, and probably in the next couple of weeks. You guys can also check me out on Twitter. It's the same name. It's at Zimmy Games. My DMs are always open, so feel free to send me a message. We can talk about games. I absolutely love interacting with the community, so that's always amazing. And thank you so much, Boom. This was a fantastic show, a record-breaking show, which was absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for being here. And of course, as we close out today's show, I'm going to do the outro that was made to me by J Dubs, also known as the Graphic God. And again, I will push his site, gamerpicks.com, xboxgamerpicks.com. Head over to that website. Tell him Boom sent you. And I want to wish everyone an amazing day. And thanks again for the